Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, fellow dregs to society. Welcome, fellow rock dwellers. My gosh, if the Democrats call us any more names, we're going to run out of time here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me today as my co-host, my very good friend, Sharon Angle, the patriot from the battle-born state, the silver state of Nevada. And Sharon, let's start out today's show by talking about good things happening to good people, and I'm referring to our very dear friend Anna Little.
Well, that's right. I was just looking through the newspaper, and on March 18th, 2019, that's just last week, or this week actually, isn't it? Executive Office for Immigration Review swears in 31 immigration judges. The Executive Office of Immigration Review today announced the investiture of 31 new immigration judges. Deputy Attorney Rod Rosenstein delivered the opening remarks, and Principal Deputy Chief Immigration Judge Christopher Santoro presided over the investiture during a ceremony held March 15th at the Department of Justice. After a thorough application process, then Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker appointed Anna C. Little, Immigration Judge, San Francisco Immigration Court. Then Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker appointed Anna Little to begin hearing cases on March 2019. Judge Little earned a business certificate in 1988 from Sophia University, Tokyo, Japan, a Bachelor of Arts in 1989 from Seton Hall University, and a Juris Doctor in 1992 from Seton Hall University School of Law. From 1994 to 2018, she was a solo practitioner in Highlands, New Jersey. From 2009 to 2010, she served as mayor of Highlands. From 2006 to 2007, she served as a freeholder in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Judge Little is a member of the New Jersey State Bar and the Pennsylvania Bar, and the only thing they left out was she's also a co-host at Conservative Commandos, a radio show.
Right. Anna started with the show, I guess, about 3 or 4 months after it started. So she was with me for like 9 years here in Conservative Commandos as a co-host. I got to know Anna very well during that time, and I always called her our little warrior. And I cannot tell you how many trips to Washington, D.C. that Anna made to keep up what was going on with what was going on in our nation's capital. Also, there was not a pro-life demonstration or Red Rose Rescue or something that she wasn't a part of. She definitely was a little warrior for our great republic. Anna is one of the dearest, sweetest, kindest people I know. And I met Anna while she was actually running for Congress. She was the Republican candidate for Congress in the 6th Congressional District of New Jersey. And I was at a morning breakfast meeting, and the way I was seated, my back was kind of towards the speaker's podium. And I heard this voice, and this voice was saying all the things that I believed in about country and freedom and we the people, and bringing our country back to the Judeo-Christian ethics our founding father created. And I'm thinking, who is this person? I got up and turned my chair around. Well, that was my introduction to Anna Little. Quite a fighter, and as I said, good things happen for good people, and we're so happy for Anna. You talk about the right choice for an immigration judge. Anna was an immigration attorney. That was what her practice is. Anna believes in the rule of law. She's not one of these activist judges. She will do what the law and the Constitution says, and if all our judges were like Anna Little, this country would be in a much greater place.
Oh, I agree. You know, in one article in the Monmouth Musings is what they call their Monmouth newspaper, where she was actually a freeholder there in Monmouth County, and the mayor of Highlands, which is in Monmouth County. They said by 2010, Little was a Tea Party darling and a leader of Anna's army of grassroots activists. After scoring a major upset by defeating Diane Gooch in the Republican primary for CD6 congressional nomination, Anna Little gave Congressman Frank Pallone what was perhaps the most competitive race of his career. She won Monmouth County of that 6th congressional district by over 3,500 votes, 51% to 47%, but could not overcome the urban vote in Middlesex County, which came out in big numbers for Pallone. That's when I met Anna Little, because if you remember, in 2010, I was running against Terry Reid, and
Yes.
I got an invitation from Anna Little, please come to a tea. We want to have a tea for you. So I did. And it was just very pleasant to meet all of her friends. But most of all, it was great to meet Anna, because we just clicked.
Yeah.
We shared so much in common as far as our political point of view, and our love for country, and our love for the right to life. I mean, everything. We just had everything in common, it seemed like. And from that moment, we were fast friends. That's, it's kind of ironic, because people think, well, how much farther away can you get, Nevada from New Jersey?
Right.
But it was true. We just became fast friends. And of course, when I lost that election, she said, I think you'd be great on our radio program. Let me talk to Rick.
Well,
so that was the beginning of my career on Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, first of all, I remember her primary battle against Diane Gooch. And Diane Gooch was a publisher of a newspaper, a very wealthy woman. Diane spent over $400,000 Diane Gooch spent on that election, versus Anna Little's $22,000. And in spite of that big money difference, Anna beat Diane, in spite of the fact that Diane was a publisher of a newspaper there. Anna beat Diane. And it's through Anna, like you said, that I met you. The first time I met you was at the Reagan dinner at CPAC. This was in 2010. That I asked Anna to introduce you to me. So after the dinner, she came and got me, and that was the first time I had the pleasure of meeting you. Didn't know at that time that we'd end up being such great friends and comrades here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. But again, I am just so proud of Anna's accomplishments. I keep saying good things happen to good people. She worked hard for this, and I can't think of a better choice.
Well, I was a little concerned about her getting this appointment because of a couple of things. First of all, she's an immigration judge, and that's just the hot button in this country. There couldn't be anybody more on the firing line right now if it weren't for these judges. And here's what they get to do. Their duties include being able to grant foreign nationals legal status in the United States, having foreign nationals who have committed an immigration crime in the U.S. deported or removed, and hearing appeals from foreign nationals seeking asylum. Mm-hmm. There are approximately 394 of these immigration judges in the United States. But here's the kicker. Her colleagues, I guess, in the immigration department are appointees of, guess who?
Barack Obama.
Loretta Lynch.
Oh, my God. Well, Anna has been trying for this position for some time, going back into the Obama administration, and it was stonewalled at that time. So when President Trump was elected, she reapplied, and thank goodness she got it.
That's
one
right.
bad thing I would say is we lost her as a co-host here on the Conservative Commandos, but our loss is the country's gain.
Well, the other concern I had was she's here in San Francisco. Now, that's good for me because that's only about 5 hours away from my home. So I'll be visiting with Anna quite a bit. But San Francisco, as you know, is off the left coast by a long shot. And the only saving grace there is the AUN TV network beams right into San Francisco.
Right.
And right into San Francisco, Pelosi's home district, in fact. So we do have some saving graces in all of this, but that was concern to me. And I wondered if she would have any conflicts with the Ninth Circus. I can't even say it right.
You're right there. The Ninth Circuit, but it is the Ninth Circus.
But no, they're not. Their appeals don't go to the Ninth Circuit. They go to a Board of Immigration Appeals, and on that Immigration Appeals Board, I thought, well, I'll just look and see who's there. Most of those folks were appointed by Eric Holder or Loretta Lynch.
Great.
So our little Anna Warrior is going to have to continue to stand her ground on these things because I know that in California, where they think that illegal and legal when it comes to immigration are the same thing, it's going to be difficult for her, and where they don't seem to be able to hold criminals accountable in that state either. They don't seem to understand the problems that we're having with our borders and lack of borders. It's going to be a hot button for Anna Little. So I'm going to just say out to our radio audience, you love her as much as we do. Pray for her.
Pray for her. She needs that. Well, Sharon, we do need to take a break, and on the other side, we'll introduce to our audience who our guests are for today and our topics for conversation. But for right now, you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. And today's show, like all our shows, is brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharon and I will be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharon Angle. For rebroadcast, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You can hear our radio show there. You can hear our TV show there. By the way, if you are listening to us on one of our stations on the AM/FM 24/7 network, and hey, check out our website. Like I mentioned, you can see our TV show there. We've got a lot of great articles, a lot of great information. Please check us out. Sharon, 3 great guests joining us once again today. They're all returning guests, and as you said before the show, there are a few of your favorites.
Yes, that's right. I think this is a blockbuster show we've got lined up here. In fact, it should be on the best of the best. Our first guest is America's Sheriff David Clarke, who now serves as a senior advisor and spokesman for America First Action. It's dedicated to supporting the Trump-Pence agenda. He recently retired as sheriff of Milwaukee County after nearly 40 years in law enforcement. The sheriff's latest book is Cop Under Fire, Beyond Hashtags of Race, Crime, and Politics for a Better America. And his website is americasheriff.com. We've asked him to come on and talk about a post. Now, this is a real political post for a sheriff, but he's gotten deep into politics, and his post is GOP Identity Crisis. Who are these guys?
I think a lot of Americans have been asking that question, and we're going to get some answers.
These guys?
We're going to get some answers from Judge Clarke.
That's right. Well, I'm going to be excited to hear from him on this subject, because I know you and I, we talk politics all the time here on Conservative Commandos, and that's one of our big questions is, who are these guys? Our second guest, we've been using his name a lot on this show, and in fact, I'm going to ask him if his ears were burning. And that's Dr. Gerard Lameiro, who is an author, philosopher, economist, and engineer. He's the author of 5 books and is a popular TV and talk show radio guest. Dr. Lameiro was a member of the 1980 Presidential Electoral College and personally cast 1 electoral vote for Ronald Reagan for president in the United States of America. Dr. Lameiro accurately predicted the Trump victory long before most pollsters and pundits gave Trump even a small chance of winning the presidential election. Dr. Lameiro correctly predicted every state that candidate Trump actually carried in the 2016 election. His latest book, More Great News for America. And we've asked Dr. Lameiro to come on and talk about what else? The 2020 presidential election update. Because we've been watching, especially now that Beto O'Rourke has jumped in. We wanted to know, what do you think, Dr. Lameiro, about this guy?
Well, Dr. Lameiro, I love to tell you the story. Love to tell the story. The day before the election in 2016, I invited Dr. Lameiro on as a guest, and at that time he predicted, and this was at a time when no one was given Donald Trump a chance, that everyone said it was going to be a Hillary landslide. Dr. Lameiro come on and predicted that Donald Trump would take 311 electoral votes. And he was almost right, except for the state of New Hampshire, and we found out later Trump probably won New Hampshire also, but about 5,000 voters from Massachusetts crossed into New Hampshire and voted there. But wow, this guy knows his stuff.
Well, I'm excited to hear what he thinks now that Beto O'Rourke has made his big bid for the presidency. Our last guest is Karen Kataline, and she's a frequent guest host on AM Talk Radio. She is a producer and host of Spouting Off, a live internet call-in talk show covering politics, pop culture, and a little psychology thrown in. Her op-eds have been seen in Investors Business Daily, Western Journal, Town Hall, The Daily Caller, The American Thinker. She's an author and an award-winning memoir, Fat Lash, Food, Politics, and the Fear of Thin, a personal account and analysis of her experience with child beauty pageants, food restrictions, and her stage mother on steroids. Wow. Karen's got a wonderful sense of humor. She'll be fun to talk to, and we're going to talk to her about leftists see bigotry everywhere, except where it actually is. I couldn't agree more with Karen on that. It just seems like we get called every name in the book, and it's been that way since.
Strikes to society, rock dwellers, living under rocks, every name you can, coming from those loving people on the left.
Well, it used to be you couldn't attack people personally, and then I got a taste of my own in 2010. I was really shocked, and I think most of the country was shocked at the way that Harry Reid came out so viciously with his personal attacks, because it really had never been done until then. But he was so frightened about losing that election that he started right away with calling me extreme and wacky. Nothing about the issues, and that's what we have to be really wise to. These guys never want to talk the issues. They certainly don't want to talk about illegal immigration. That's not on there. You're a racist. That's it. Yep. We won't talk about that because you're a racist, and we don't want to talk about any of the other issues. The economy, for instance. Well, you must be against the poor.
Yeah. Well, I remember not only did they attack you, they attacked Christine O'Donnell and any other woman.
Absolutely.
I mean, from this party of acceptance. Hey, Sharon, talking about good things happening to good people, wanted to bring you up personally, along with your beautiful grandson, Benjamin, and he has had another victory in his short life, and maybe you could talk about that.
I would like to talk about that. I'll just mention my book, Defying Diagnosis, Choosing Faith Over Facts. And this is Benjamin here on the cover, and it's kind of a coffee table book, if you will. It's just a picture book for adults, and I say for adults because it's really a very adult topic when we come down to diagnoses and their implications here in this country, and how the medical community and our Medicare system, Medicaid system, Obamacare system affects us on a very personal level. And it has affected my family at a very personal level because from the moment that he was diagnosed trisomy 18, which is a chromosomic disorder. I guess we all have 23 pairs of chromosomes, 46 in all. And by golly, on chromosome number 18, he has 3. So that makes him have 47 chromosomes. And that third chromosome just kind of messes with his whole system in ways that we can't predict. Most people are commonly familiar with trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome. This trisomy 18 is more rare, and it's called Edwards syndrome. Well, now we know what Iceland did. They declared a victory over Downs, and what was the victory? Abortion.
Let's just abort. Let's just kill all these little babies.
That's right. And
Sharon, I being a Facebook friend with not just you, but your daughter Joy, the mother of Benjamin. This is just a beautiful baby. He always seems so happy, smiling, and I can imagine what little joy he is to you and your family. and how that joy would be missing without him, irregardless of his medical problems or conditions. I bet your family can't imagine life without him.
Well, he has been a real blessing to us. There's no doubt about it. We have gained so much and so much understanding, I think, of the issue, because from the very beginning, right after he was conceived, and they realized that we had a baby boy on the way, named him Benjamin Bruce Kincaid, and then they said, well, he'd be better off dead. And from that moment, we began to fight for his life. And now we are in contact with people all over the world who know about baby Ben. And he has his own little Facebook following. He has about 15,000 fans, maybe a few more around the world. In fact, my daughter and her husband were taking a little respite when he was in the hospital. And they were in Virginia City out on their little terrace, and the couple in the room next door came out on that shared terrace, and they got to talking. Why were they there? All of these things. And my daughter said, well, my little baby's in the hospital. And the lady said, is that baby Ben? And my daughter said, well, yes, it is baby Ben. And she says, oh, my goodness, we've been praying for him in Melbourne, Australia. So, he has affected lives all around the world. And he's 2.5 years old. He has just gone through a tracheostomy. When we first heard that he had to have that done to improve his lungs and the condition of his breathing, we were quite frightened by the prospects. But now that we've seen him recover from this surgery, he is just a different boy. He was happy before, but now he is a arm-flapping, giggling little kid. Because of the trach, you can't hear him giggle, but he goes, it just bounces up and down when he starts chuckling. It's so fun to be around that boy. And the caregivers actually were drawing straws to see who could take care of him. At the hospital and now even for home care, they all want to take care of him because he's bright. He's a brightness to their lives. He's a brightness to our life. You watch him; he never complains, Rick. He never expects. He does not demand your attention. He's just happy to be alive. It's that amazing that he just hardly ever cries. I mean, you have to hurt this little boy. Wow. Not his feelings. Hurt him physically, stick him with a needle or something like that. Right. And even then, he's so used to them, he doesn't really cry. But once in a while, he'll get going.
Sharon, we do need to take a break, but please, one more time, holding up that book, Defying Diagnosis, and tell people how and where they can get it and how they could keep track of little Ben and his progress.
It is Defying Diagnosis, Choosing Fact Over Faith. Faith over fact, sorry. Choosing Faith Over Fact. Don't know the name of my own book. And you can get it at my website, SharonEngle.com. SharonEngle.com.
All right. With that, we will take a break. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. She is Sharon Engle. I am Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. On the other side, we're going to have America's Sheriff, David Clarke, join us to discuss an article that he wrote on townhall.com, GOP Identity Crisis. Who are these guys? Question a lot of people, including Sharon and I, have been asking. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our first guest.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. For rebroadcast of our shows, please check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Can listen to rebroadcast of our radio show, watch our TV show, read a lot of great articles, pick up a lot of great information. Sharon, we have our first guest with us. The honor of the introduction is yours.
It is an honor and a privilege to introduce America's Sheriff David Clarke, who now serves as the senior advisor and spokesman for America First Action, dedicated to supporting the Trump-Pence agenda. He recently retired as sheriff of Milwaukee County after nearly 40 years of law enforcement. The sheriff's latest book is Cop Under Fire, Beyond Hashtags of Race, Crime, and Politics for a Better America, and his website, of course, is americasheriff.com. Sheriff Clarke, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you, sir. It's my honor, and I'm also on the board of advisors of We Build a Wall, Inc.
Great, great. We'd like to be a part of that with you. We're always talking about building that wall. But today we want to talk about your article, GOP Identity Crisis. Who are those guys? We've wondered too, who are those guys? And I think one of the most telling comments in your article is this one, where you say, I have talked to base voters all across the country in the year leading up to the 2016 election of Donald Trump, after his ascendancy to the White House, and through the 2018 midterm elections. From the local GOP members, I've noticed a commonality. They feel the elites in Washington, D.C. and at the national level aren't listening to them. That there are no truer words spoken than those. We don't feel like they're listening to us. So who are those guys?
That's a great question. That's why I asked it. It's no startling revelation, as you know. Look, I've been all across this country. I think I'm up to 40 states now that I've visited, unlike Obama visited 57. Base voters, the grassroots. I've spoken at more Lincoln and Reagan Day dinners than you can shake a stick at. When I go to these things, I don't lecture people. I'm usually the keynote speaker, but I listen as well. And what they tell me, there's a common theme. The elitists at the party level, the RNC, the bigwigs on Capitol Hill, are totally disconnected from the base voter. And what really inspired me to write this column this week, and your viewers and listeners can read the whole thing at townhall.com. You know, I've traveled all across this great country speaking to people at the grassroots level, the base voters, conservative voters, GOP voters, And there's a total disconnect from what they tell me. I listen to them. You know, I'm a keynote speaker at many of these events. I've been to more Lincoln and Reagan Day dinners as a keynote speaker than you can shake a stick at. And I don't just go there and talk to people. I listen. And what they tell me, there's a common theme running through it. They feel that the GOP at the national level, the RNC, and on Capitol Hill, that there's a total disconnect from the base voters. The base voters have made it clear what they sent them to Washington to do. They said it in 2016. We want Donald Trump to be the standard bearer, and we want the GOP in the House and the Senate to get behind him. What really got me was in the last week when both the House and the Senate voted in favor of overriding the president's national emergency declaration at the southern border because of the humanitarian crisis. Now, look, 12 Republicans in the GOP and 13 Republicans in the House joined every Democrat against the president's national emergency declaration. The president had said he was going to veto it. The House and the Senate knew they didn't have the votes to override. This was nothing more than symbolic. This was nothing more than a slap at the president of the United States. And the fact that 12 Republicans in the Senate and 13 Republicans in the House voted against the president, you know, and I said to myself, here was an opportunity for all the GOP members on Capitol Hill to say, look, we don't have the numbers to override anyway. We support the president in terms of border security. Why don't we get on board? Why don't we show him we have his back? And instead they went the other way. It's really frustrating the base voters who are going to stay with Trump. They're not going to change their mind. But I'll tell you what, in the end, it's going to hurt the GOP down ticket in the upcoming election, because they'll go in, they'll vote for Donald Trump for president, and then they'll skip the rest of those, maybe some local races that affect their area. But at the national level, they'll skip it and they'll turn their ballot in.
Well, we were shocked, too, and we were shocked to see who was on that list. Rand Paul, Mike Lee. It just seemed like ones that you wouldn't figure would be on that list of 12 senators and also the 13 in the House. What causes that? It's people I didn't consider to be insider establishment necessarily.
Well, I did. I wasn't surprised. There were a few. Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania, and there was another one that surprised me. The rest of them did not surprise me at all. In the House, Jim Sensenbrenner from Wisconsin surprised me. Mike Gallagher from Wisconsin surprised me. Some of the others did not. And basically, like I said, what they signaled stealthily was, we really don't support this president, because if they did, you show it by your vote. That's how you show your support. So these guys cannot came up, and they all ran on it. Everybody that was in this last election cycle from 2016 on and in the midterms that ran it under the GOP banner said they support the president's strong position on border security. They ran on it. They raised money off of it. Then when push came to shove, when it was time to demonstrate their support for the president, they weren't there. You know, there's an old adage in politics that I learned early on, and it was it's trust no one. The president knows he doesn't have the back of everybody in the GOP, and that makes the climb even steeper. He knows he's got this fierce resistance from the Democrats, but when members of your own party do that sort of backstabbing thing, that's really got to hurt.
Well, it does hurt. I know that you felt it. I felt it. It's shocking. You think that you have an enemy's out in front. You're ready to go to battle out in front, and then by golly, they've got your back. They're stabbing you in the back, and now you've got war on two fronts. And it's really a shocking, stunning thing that has happened within our party. I don't know. Is there a solution, or do we just abandon the party? Because many people are saying that. I don't want to be a Republican anymore. I'll vote for Trump, but I won't vote for Republicans.
Well, here's what I would suggest. You know, I don't want to do anything rash. I don't want to suggest anything rash. I don't want any knee-jerk reactions, because we still got to win some of these political wars, because we might have some Supreme Court seats to fill, and we're going to want the GOP in charge if that happens. There are some other things down the road. But what I would suggest is, you know, we're going to stay with the president. We're going to support the president. He needs every member of the GOP on Capitol Hill to get his agenda through, and he doesn't really have it. But what I would do is suggest to people, support your local GOP House member or senator if they vote every time with the president. Check the NRA, see what kind of grade the NRA gives. The Second Amendment is huge. I would do things like that. And the next time you get an envelope at your house that says RNC on it, Republican National Committee, looking for a donation, put it in the shredder.
Well, there's also the NRSC. That's the Senate side of that group of senators that want your money as well. And it is true. They're collecting money to support all of these senators that voted against the Trump border wall. And we all know how critical that is. In fact, you've started a new group just because of the critical nature of that wall. Tell us why you joined up and why you have this new group going.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's really, I didn't start it, but I'm on the board of advisors. I was asked to come on because of my strong position on border security and my support of the president's policies on border security. It's called We Build the Wall, Inc. We Build the Wall, Inc. If people go to webuildthewall.org, then go onto the website. And what it is, it's a private effort to raise money to help landowners along the border who have been abandoned by the federal government. Their properties are being ravaged by illegal immigration. Their sheds, their barns, their houses are being broken into by people illegally crossing the border. You have drugs, you have human trafficking coming across the border at these sections. And what this effort will do, will use private money to build barriers, build a wall along those private lands, on private land, and those landowners that have been abandoned by the federal government because they won't do anything about illegal immigration. It was started by a veteran, Brian Kolfage. He's a triple amputee because of a rocket attack as he served over, and I think it was Iraq. He was serving in the Air Force in Iraq. The camp that he was at came under a rocket attack. He survived the worst injuries ever by anybody in combat. Like I said, triple amputee. He's got skin in the game here. He got tired of it. This is a citizen action group. What we decided was, and what he decided was, if the federal government is going to fail the American people along the southern border, the American citizens will step up in their place. One thing you can count on the American people to do is step up in a time of crisis. And that's what this is on the southern border, a humanitarian crisis. And many individuals who have donated, and basically what they're saying is, we want to help.
Well, we couldn't agree more, and we love Brian Kolfage. We've had him here on the show, and we've also been talking about this wall and how the government would have to eminent domain private lands in order to build that wall. So I think this is a perfect solution. But we have to go to a break right now. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch our TV show on AUN TV Network in Northern California. We'll be right back with our guest, America's Sheriff, David Clarke, Rick Trader, and I'm Sharon Angle.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes. Now, people say, why didn't you report it to the authorities? Well, they were the ones doing it.
The integrity of one man, one vote doesn't apply at the Texas state legislature. There is no way to know if your representatives are voting for themselves.
Department, a Republican, reaches back to vote for Democrat Oliveira. Democrat Matt Reynolds votes for Republican England.
2 out of 3 voters nationwide believe that voter fraud is a serious problem in the U.S. today.
The process is rigged.
Both sides of the aisle are guilty.
Florida now has to tell the Department of Justice whether the state will comply with DOJ's demand to stop purging thousands of people from its voter rolls.
We have the sloppiest election system of any industrialized democracy.
Philadelphia flagged 50,000 duplicate registrations, so just think how many more slipped through.
It's almost impossible to detect. How do you get caught? You only get caught if you confess.
Election corruption is deeply embedded in America. Quote, election fraud is a crime that usually pays, unquote, writes Tracy Campbell in his book, Deliver the Vote, A History of Election Fraud, an American political tradition from 1742 to 2004. In 1742, the first Prime Minister of Britain in the American colonies, Robert Walpole, was forced to resign.
We have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out as much as if you're prevented from voting.
If this is going to be fixed, it's going to have to be a citizen effort. It comes down to, it's the same old question, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
This is huge. This is about the democracy and the principles of the United States of America. People say, but why you? Why you? Why? Well, why not? And if it starts with a fireman, if it starts with a sanitation worker, if it starts with a teacher or a nurse or a caretaker of the elderly, then so be it. It's got to start somewhere. But it's time we come together and fix this problem once and for all.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
Serious allegations of voter fraud, the claims raising questions about the
Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 32 others were on a military plane that crashed today in a violent storm. There are no known survivors at this time.
The U.S. Army was funded by the evil entity.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
The process is rigged.
So it's incredibly important now that we draw a line and say, not on our watch.
And thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. Today, my co-host is Sharon Angle. Want to give a shout out to the folks who listen to us on stations in Jacksonville, Tampa and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Long Beach, California, and the home of our guest, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Our guest is America's Sheriff David Clarke. He's a senior advisor and spokesman for America First Action. He's also on the board of directors of WeBuildTheWall.inc. Sheriff Clarke, thank you for holding through that break. We really appreciate your time.
Okay.
Sheriff, you start out your article, and I truly believe this. There was a time when the Republican Party stood for platforms that were very distinct, easily to understand, easily to rally behind, electorally and ideologically. You mentioned in your article, Ronald Reagan, conservatives stood for small government through less spending, lower taxes, individual liberty, and military superiority. You know, Sheriff, that reminds me of something that Ronald Reagan himself said, that we have to show the differences, our differences between the other side, the leftists, the liberals, the Democrats, with bold colors, not pale pastels. And I agree with you. I think that a large part of the group that calls themselves Republicans are generally want to support Republicans and vote Republicans, are very frustrated by these pale pastels and mixed messages that we are getting from the Republican Party. And I would think that the win of Donald Trump, the fact that during the midterms, the candidates that Donald Trump went out and supported, they did well. They won by and large. Not so much for the other side. Help me out, Sheriff Clarke. Why haven't the Republican Party, why haven't the GOP learned this lesson?
That's a good question. Self-interest, that's what it is. Self-preservation on Capitol Hill. Look, the president has made it very clear what his agenda is. We all know what it is. It's easy to understand, like you mentioned with Ronald Reagan. Mm-hmm. And Ronald Reagan was a disciple of Barry Goldwater. And you go back then and you look what the GOP used to stand for, and it was very distinct from the Democrats. They talked about smaller government. They talked about the rule of law. They talked about the United States Constitution. They talked about smaller government through lower taxation and a military superiority, support for police here at home. Those were things that were easily understood. They were, this party was well grounded in something. Well, that's faded over time. And now in some cases, there are very good GOP members on Capitol Hill, but in many instances, and like I said, we got to have everybody, all hands on deck, everybody on board to help push this agenda. But look at all the spending that's gone on over the last, 10 years. And don't forget, keep this in mind, that the GOP was in charge of the House and the Senate during many of those omnibus spending packages, those continuing resolutions that continued to increase spending, that forced this President Trump's hand in that one omnibus craptacular bill. So they continue to increase spending. They continue to grow government, support policies that people at the base do not agree with, like Planned Parenthood. That stuff is all funded and supported by the GOP. So we can sit up here if we want and blame the Democrats for what's going on Capitol Hill. But for many of those cycles, Paul Ryan was in charge of the House. Mitch McConnell was in charge of the Senate. It was John Boehner before him. And they put forth spending packages that were anathema to Republican principles.
Sheriff Clarke, 10 years ago when I started the Conservative Commandos radio show, Democrats controlled the House and Senate. Democrat was in the White House. And we heard this constant cry, especially after Obamacare. Well, if you really want us to change things, you have to help us. You have to get us back in control. So we gave them the House. They said, well, that's not enough. We gave them the Senate. Says, great, we have the House and Senate, but we can't get anything signed with the Democrat in the White House. We got them the White House. So they had the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And a lot of the things that they promised us, like border security, a border wall, a repeal of Obamacare, smaller government, limited spending, we haven't seen any of that. They've been, as you mentioned, as we've been talking, they have been fighting against Donald Trump. It gets frustrating for people like Sharon and I, and I'm sure you too. We've heard a lot of calls for it's time for a third party. What's your feeling about third party?
Well, I'm not there yet. That's come up before. And the reason why I'm not there yet is because it takes time to foster something like that, to build something like that. And we don't have a lot of time. Look, the Democrats right now have the pedal to the metal with this full tilt on this progressive agenda, this crazy idea. But what we were sold was fool's gold by the Republicans when they said, hey, look, we can't do anything. Obama's in the White House. They control the House and the Senate. So like you said, we gave them everything they asked for. And it was like a scene out of the Charlie Brown cartoon where Lucy's holding the football, promising she's not going to pull it away. Charlie Brown goes to kick it, and she pulls it away each and every time. Well, that's what the Democrats on Capitol Hill did to us. We gave them everything they asked for, and we got nothing in return. But before we start, looking at third-party movement, I'll tell you what gets their attention. Cash, money, donations. And that's why I said, if you really want to get the attention of the Republicans, look, the president needs control of the Senate. He needs control of the House back. But
yes.
So I wouldn't say we got to run these guys out of there and lose the Senate along with the House. But what I would say is the one thing that'll get the attention of the Republican Party, the Republican National Committee, and the Senatorial Committee, money. Like I said, when that envelope comes to your mailbox, trash it. Throw it away. Give individually to your U.S. Senator and House member if they support this president. Give individually to those campaigns. Do not give it to the RNC or the Senatorial Committee, because keep in mind, that money also goes to support at election time those Republicans who are not in line with Donald Trump. So basically, you're financing that dysfunction. Money is how you get the attention of people in Washington, D.C.
Well, Sheriff Clarke, the wife and I get those envelopes. We don't shred them. What we do is we write in bold, magic marker across them, support the president, and we send that back. We're hoping that we're sending a message that way.
I wouldn't even waste the postage, but that's fine. That's another way to do it.
A lot of these are prepaid postage. You send it back on their dime, so it's good for us.
I like that.
You know, Sheriff Clarke, I think you made a great point when you said that it is important for Republicans to maintain control of at least the Senate because, as you mentioned, a Supreme Court. That's extremely important here. We're seeing it more and more. In fact, the Democrats come out the other day, and they said they want to add members to the Supreme Court, take it from 9 to 15, put term limits on the Supreme Court. And I bring this up, Sheriff Clarke, because the Democrat Party is going so far left. They're going so radical. They're going so socialist. I don't think that we can compromise with these people any longer. I think it's been a mistake to compromise with them. I think that the left and the right see compromise very differently. The right feels, okay, we're going to give them something, and then everybody should be happy. But the left sees a compromise. Look, they're weakening. They gave us this much. This is just another step to ultimately where we want to go. What's your feeling about compromising with the left?
You can't. Look, compromise is a sign of weakness in politics. In politics, the name of the game is win. When you have control, you use it and get everything you can because you won't have it forever. So get as much of the agenda through as you can, and that's what the Republicans don't understand. There are still many GOP members who think they can work with this class of Republicans when they can't. You look at when Obama was president, the GOP controlled House and Senate gave Obama everything he wanted in those spending packages. They always gave him everything he wanted in exchange for some, minor tax cuts, starting in 10 years, sometime down the road. That's foolish to do that sort of thing. So one of the other reasons why we have to maintain control of the Senate is the Second Amendment. The House under Nancy Pelosi passed this huge gun control measure. Of course, it will never see the light of day in the Senate. But like I said, if they ever get control of the Senate, now we have the president as a firewall who would veto anything like that. But at the same time, I don't want to play defense anymore.
I don't either.
Just defend. I don't want to be on defense, vetoing and firewalls. No, I want to go back on offense. And we can go back on offense, but the only way we're going to get back on offense is with the grassroots and the base voter. Look these establishment Republicans, lobbyists. When I say establishment, I should define that. That's the big donors, that's the lobbyists, and that's the establishment Republicans on Capitol Hill. That's who the establishment class is, the political class I call them. To look them in the eye, make it clear, flood their offices with phone calls, emails, make those phones ring off the hook, because I've talked to members of Congress, and one thing they rely on, a congressman told me this, he says, we rarely hear from people back home, and because of that, oftentimes there's people on the Hill here don't feel, on the GOP, that they have to do anything because they're not hearing from constituents. So rather than just call talk radio and bitch, which is, one of the things that we like to do, but that's not effective, what we have to do is, and we can't just sit around and complain, what we have to do is let them hear us. Flood their offices, emails, text messages, phone calls. You know what? That'll wear them down. They'll say, you know what? The natives are restless. We better start to listen. I'm telling you that'll be effective. I'm an elected official myself. I always kept my finger on the pulse of the base voters in Milwaukee. I'm in a very liberal county. I'm a solid conservative, but I got elected 4 times because people knew what I stood for, and they appreciated that.
America's Sheriff David Clarke, we want to thank you so much for joining us here in Conservative Commandos. Always enjoy having you on. Please tell our audience how they could follow your work, read your articles, get your book.
The best place, one-stop shopping, americassheriff.com. Everything's there, my Facebook, my Twitter. Every time I tweet, it'll show up there. You don't have to go to 4 or 5 different spots. All my columns, townhall.com. Everything appears at americassheriff.com.
America's Sheriff David Clarke, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
God bless you. Be well.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be talking with Dr. Gerard Lameiro, about who's ahead in the 2020 presidential races. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharon Engel. And once again, for rebroadcasts of our shows, place to go is our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You can listen to our radio show there, watch our TV show there. We have a lot of great articles, a lot of great information. I'm sure you'll enjoy it also. Check it out, ccrshow.com. Especially if you're just used to listen to us on our radio shows, check out what we look like on TV. I'll be a shock. Sharon will be a pleasant surprise. And with that, Sharon Engel, our next guest, is with us. We always enjoy having this gentleman. We always learn from him. Please make the introduction.
Well, it is always a pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Gerard Lameiro, who is an author, a philosopher, an economist, and an engineer. He's the author of 5 books and is a popular TV and talk radio show guest. Dr. Lameiro was a member of the 1980 Presidential Electoral College and personally cast 1 electoral vote for Ronald Reagan for President of the United States of America. Dr. Lameiro accurately predicted a Trump victory long before most pollsters and pundits gave Trump even the small chance of winning the presidential election. Dr. Lameiro correctly predicted every state that candidate Trump actually carried in the 2016 election. His latest book, More Great News for America, is available at Amazon.com and other retail outlets. Dr. Lameiro, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
It's great to be with you.
Well,
as always.
And it's great to have you. Your ears must have been burning all week, because every time we mention Beto O'Rourke's casting his name into the 2020 pile of presidential Democrat candidates, we had to cite back to Dr. Lameiro made a prediction for 2020, and it doesn't include Beto O'Rourke. Does it include him now? Let's talk about those predictions.
I'll tell you, the presidential candidates that are lining up for the Democratic Party remind me of a movie I saw years ago, Star Wars movie, and they had the bar scene with all the characters. And this is a whole bunch of characters that are hard to believe, and the list keeps going on. You know, we have the Governor Hickenlooper from Colorado, former governor, with all of his sexual exploits. That was quite a revelation. We have Beta taking his mother to see Deep Throat, a porn film of notoriety.
Wow, I didn't hear that one.
And the list goes on and on about all the things that these people believe in, getting rid of basically our economy by getting rid of fossil fuels. And the list is just phenomenally. These people are off the deep end in a major way.
Well, they need a major candidate if they think they can even hope to challenge President Trump. And you pulled one out on our last prediction. You said you thought it would be Michelle Obama. She hasn't even named herself yet. What's going on there?
Well, I think that she is a candidate because of her husband's position and connections. They have a lot of political connections, financial and organizational, all of which are needed to run a successful campaign. And you have her running against a bunch of strange lightweights, deep-end lightweights, that it's hard to think they can pull it together. I mean, they've been falling all over each other, making big blunders and sounding ridiculous. And even their own Democrats are questioning a lot of these candidates and where they stand. Another thing that's of interest to me is, Hillary would love to get the nomination, but she doesn't stand a chance. Joe Biden, who you would think stands a chance because he's ahead in some of the polls, although I question most of the results of the polls anyway, because I don't think they're doing them the right way these days, in my opinion, as one who studies numbers. Joe Biden says he's looking to see, he's sort of feeling the field and trying to decide if he's got support. I would say if he had support, he would have already thrown in his hat. I do not think he can raise the money that, for example, Beto O'Rourke, who's sort of a charismatic type figure, he's sort of a folk hero on the left. He's so radical that they sort of like him for some reason. But Joe Biden, who would be more representative of a little bit less extreme, although still very much on the left, I don't think he'll be able to get nominated as any others that even come close to being a more normal Democrat from historical perspective. By the way, one of the things Joe Biden wanted to do is recapture some of the working folks that the Democrats gave up when Obama was president. He just wrote them off, and they're still written off and supporting Donald Trump. So I think the Democratic Party is in deep trouble. I will give you another prediction today. I don't think I gave you last time because I've only figured it out in the last month or so, and that is that I've been predicting since 2015 the end of the Democratic Party as we know it. I think it'll officially close down in 2021. I now have a year that I peg for the end of the Democratic Party. But when I mean the end, I don't mean it's going to change their name to the
Socialist Party,
Democrat lightweights or something else. I think they're going to just shut down the party as we know it, because from history, every so often parties come, parties go. The Whigs were very successful for about 50 years, or maybe a little less than that, and they went away. You don't have a Whig running for office these days, and I think that the Democratic Party is coming to an end. I think this radical lurch to the left is going to finish them off.
And what will replace them? Do you think it will be these middle roaders, these middle establishment Republicans? What's going to take their place?
Well, I think the establishment Republicans are very upset right now because they've lost control of the Republican Party. The Republican Party is now a much more conservative party. It's going to continue to get more conservative in the next election, 2020. And I think they will abandon the Republican Party. And I see them as starting a Republican progressive, or they may give it another name, party. And they'll hope to pick up the Democrats who are disenfranchised from the radical Democrats of current day. So I think what's going to happen is the Democratic Party will go away completely, and in its place will be the Republican Party split between the conservative Republicans and the Republican progressives, or they may give themselves the name progressives, because they are. They're just a little bit... Progressive is a word meaning progressing towards socialism. The Democrats are already there. They're socialists. And Mitt Romney is close, but he's not quite as far and extreme. So I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to have two new major parties. That happens every once in a while in our history. And I think that's coming, and I think it's going to really fall into place in 2021 as a result of the next election, which is going to also move things much more conservative.
When you were on our show last time, you gave us an actual number prediction of the electoral votes, and that Mitt Romney will run as an independent, which really kind of runs along with your idea that these two new parties will emerge, and that would put Mitt Romney right in the right spot for that new party.
Right. Well, he knows he can't win the nomination. He'd love to take Donald Trump out himself and get the nomination. But right now, about 93% of Republicans support Donald Trump. So anyone who runs, be it Mitt Romney or John Kasich or anyone else, they're only going to get 5% or less in the primaries, and so they're not going to get nominated. So he's smart enough to know he's wasting his time, just like... for example, Jeff Flake knew he'd waste his time if he ran for senator last time around. And so he's not going to run on a Republican ticket. He's going to try to run as an independent, I think.
Well, and set himself up for maybe 2024,
or
right?
a new party.
Yeah, and the
for
new
a new
party.
You know, just to show you that this is really happening, think of Jeb Bush's recent statement. He said, it's time for a Republican to take on Trump. That means he doesn't consider Trump a Republican, and maybe he's not, because Trump is more conservative than the Republican establishment.
Well, maybe the new party are the conservatives. We have to take a break, and we're going to come back with our guest, Dr. Gerard Lameiro, who says he's an author, philosopher, economist, engineer, and we think prognosticator for politics in the 2020 cycle. And we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 27. For 24/7. And now you can watch us on our TV show on the AUN TV network in Northern California. We'll be right back with Gerard Lameiro, Rick Trader, and I'm Sharon Engel.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharon Engel. Yes, that's Sharon Engel. And our guest is a longtime friend of our program, Dr. Gerard Lameiro. He is an author, philosopher, economist, and engineer. He's the author of the book, More Great News for America. Dr. Lameiro, thank you for staying with us. Hold up that book so America can see it.
Okay.
There it is.
Good?
More great news for America. Thank you, Dr. Lameiro. And Dr. Lameiro,
I want to read the very bottom of it in case they didn't see it. The very bottom in parentheses is how and why the good guys win in the end.
That's great to hear, because a lot of people think the good guys can't win anymore, and Sharon and I both believe that they can do. Dr. Lameiro, we're discussing the 2020 presidential election updates, and boy, we've got a lot of characters. And you described the list of Democrats in this as kind of like a cast out of Star Wars. There was a cast, quite a cast in the 2020 election. Donald Trump came out of that one, obviously. And I wanted to ask you if you could compare Donald Trump to another president in history, maybe with this big personality, who would that be?
That's a very good question. I've never given that thought, so this is just kind of off the top of the head answer. I would say maybe Theodore Roosevelt.
Bingo! I mean, that's exactly who I was thinking of. You know, the big personality, loves being out in the public, loves to give speeches, a personality bigger than life. You know, Teddy Roosevelt was not liked by the Republican Party either. In fact, at the time he was made vice president, because at the time the vice president was that position in the closet. You want to get rid of somebody, you make him vice president. They didn't think that about a month after the election, the vice president would be made president. Teddy Roosevelt had problems with his party. So does Donald Trump. So that you and I are thinking alike once again. These lightweights, as you're calling them, coming from the Democrat Party, and you got a list of them here up on your website: Bernie Sanders, Beto O'Rourke, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren. I mean, they're quite a cast of characters. Hillary Clinton, you might add to that. And they all seem to be doing the same thing, Doctor, and that's running to the left, chasing this socialism that's rampant through the Democrat Party. You and Sharon were talking, and you said you're making another prediction that by 2021, we might see the end of the Democrat Party. And could there possibly be a separate from a lot of those people going to a moderate Republican Party? Could you possibly see two Democrat parties forming out of that?
No, I don't think so. There are a lot of reasons why over our 241-year history, we've developed into a two-party system. And there have been multiple parties, but most of them are fringe parties that can't produce national candidates, can't produce a president in that. But they have a little bit of influence here and there. For example, the Green Party, we know about them. They took a few votes away over a few election cycles. There is currently something called the Socialist Party USA, and I think the Democrats are just basically trying to walk away with their agenda. And they're the Democrat Socialists of America, which is technically not a party, but it's, I believe it's organized as a 501c3. So it's like an organization, but not a party. I think that the Democrat Socialists of America might convert to a party, or these folks may just join the Socialist Party of USA or the Green Party or some other party they might create. Mm-hmm. But I think the proof of the pudding is going to be the House is going to go back. It's going to be more conservative than any time in our past history. In the last 40 years, this will be the most conservative House in 2020. Mm-hmm. The Senate is going to lose several, if you will, establishment Republicans. They will be replaced by conservative Republicans, so the Senate will be the most conservative we've seen. Donald Trump is going to win with over 360 electoral votes.
Wow! Wait, 360?
No, over 360.
Over 360.
My current number is 367.
Wow. I'll take, what's it take?
270?
71. But, over 360 is music to my ears.
Right. And basically, I think what's going to happen is the Democratic Party is going to shut down. But a vacuum needs sort of an opposition party. A minority party is not going to do that well to represent the others in the country who are not conservative. Most Americans are really quite conservative.
Right. Dr. Lameiro, we only got a couple minutes, and I wanted to throw this name into the conversation of Howard Schultz. He's the CEO of Starbucks. He has made noise about running. He said that the Democrat Party has actually left him. Do you think he's a serious third-party candidate or a potential candidate for the Democrat nomination? Can he be seen as a compromise candidate between the old Democrats and these new socialist Democrats?
Well, the current Democratic Party, radical as it is, socialist as it is, reject him outright. They do not think he lives up to their socialist standards. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit slightly American. That's tough for them to handle. He's also a capitalist. They don't like that. He actually made money starting a business, which is something they have a hard time with. No, I do not think he is going to be a Democrat nominee. I think they'll reject him. As far as running on his own, I think he's going to have his arm twisted so badly that he's going to step out. His time for making decisions, he's already said, is the summer. I think you'll see him drop out in the summer. I'm sure he knows he can't beat Trump, and he can't get the nomination, so I think he'll just quietly go back to making coffee or whatever else he does.
All right, Dr. Gerard Lameiro, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. One more time, Doctor, hold up that book. And as you're doing that, please tell our audience how they could keep track of you and what you write, and also how they can get your book.
Well, they can get my book at any retail bookstore. The name of the book, obviously, More Great News for America. My website is More Great News for America. I'm sorry, my website is Great News for America. And I have 5 books on Amazon. And if all goes well, I'll have my 6th book out this summer.
Right. Well, we want to be the first ones to get it, all right?
Okay.
So make sure we get it, and obviously we'll have you on many times before then. Dr. Gerard Lameiro, thank you so much for joining us. Take care, and God bless.
You have a great show, and God bless you, and God bless your entire audience.
Thank you. We always love having you on. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host is Sharon Engel. I'm Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be talking about leftists see bigotry everywhere, except for where it actually is. Don't go away. Avoid disappointment and future regret. We'll be right back with our next guest, Kataline.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes. Now, people say, why didn't you report it to the authorities? Well, they were the ones doing it.
The integrity of one man, one vote doesn't apply at the Texas state legislature. There is no way to know if your representatives are voting for themselves.
Department, a Republican, reaches back to vote for Democrat Oliveira. Democrat Matt Reynolds votes for Republican England.
2 out of 3 voters nationwide believe that voter fraud is a serious problem in the U.S. today.
The process is rigged.
Both sides of the aisle are guilty.
Florida now has to tell the Department of Justice whether the state will comply with DOJ's demand to stop purging thousands of people from its voter rolls.
We have the sloppiest election system of any industrialized democracy.
Philadelphia flagged 50,000 duplicate registrations, so just think how many more slipped through.
It's almost impossible to detect.
How do you get caught? You only get caught if you confess.
Election corruption is deeply embedded in America. Quote, election fraud is a crime that usually pays, unquote, writes Tracy Campbell in his book, Deliver the Vote, A History of Election Fraud, an American political tradition from 1742 to 2004. In 1742, the first Prime Minister of Britain in the American colonies, Robert Walpole, was forced to resign.
We have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out as much as if you're prevented from voting.
If this is going to be fixed, it's going to have to be a citizen effort. It comes down to, it's the same old question, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
This is huge. This is about the democracy and the principles of the United States of America. People say, but why you? Why you? Why? Well, why not? And if it starts with a fireman, if it starts with a sanitation worker, if it starts with a teacher or a nurse or a caretaker of the elderly, then so be it. It's got to start somewhere. But it's time we come together and fix this problem once and for all.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
Serious allegations of voter fraud, the claims raising questions about the
Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 32 others were on a military plane that crashed today in a violent storm. There are no known survivors at this time.
The U.S. Army was funded by the evil entity.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
The process is rigged.
People die and they fall for the right to vote. It's so it's incredibly important now that we draw a line and say, not on our watch.
For rebroadcast of our show, please check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Please like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And with that, Sharon Engel, our next guest, is with us. As usual, please make her feel welcome.
Well, it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to introduce our friend Karen Kataline, who is a frequent guest host on AM Talk Radio. She's a producer and host of Spouting Off, in live, internet, call-in talk show covering politics, pop culture, and a little psychology thrown in. Her op-eds can even be seen in Investors Business Daily, Western Journal, Town Hall, The Daily Caller, The American Thinker. She's an author of an award-winning memoir, Fat Lash, Fatlash, food police, and the fear of thin, a personal account and analysis of her experience with child beauty pageants, food restriction, and her stage mother on steroids. Karen, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
It is such a pleasure with both of you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure always to have you on. We love your sense of humor. And you've got one today, too, in one of your articles. Leftists see bigotry everywhere, except where it actually is. So talk to us a little bit about truth. We have a hard time with these leftists and truth. They are really good at name calling, but they have a really tough time with truth.
Yes, well, they have cast themselves as the moral arbiters of all the rest of us. They've been lecturing and lecturing us about what is and isn't acceptable speech, what is and isn't acceptable morality, and in fact, they're obsessed with the isms and the obes, you know, racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, and you know, a lot of us who've been watching this for a long time constantly tell people that this is nothing more than a political tactic. But it wasn't until we saw, and we are continuing to see the case of Ilhan Omar and other overt Jew haters in the Democrat majority House expressing overt anti-Semitism, and some people know that I happen to be Jewish, and I don't look for anti-Semitism around every corner. I just don't. I'm privileged and blessed to live in a country like America that has religious pluralism, and yet when push came to shove, the Democrats could not admonish one person who made outrageous statements against the Jewish people and against the state of Israel, and they have now been exposed for the hypocrites that they really are. I contend in this piece, and I have to just give you a shameless plug. I tried for a while to get my work into foxnews.com, and this is the very first piece I've had in foxnews.com, and my contention is that no longer should anybody ever be persuaded that they are the arbiters of what is bigotry. They would never have any platform at all if we were able to expose that. And in fact, they don't have any other platform except socialism. That's it.
Well, I'd like to just explore Fox and Ilhan Omar and what happened with Judge Jeanine Pirro. She just dared to question where her loyalties lie. She didn't even say, I think. She just said, shouldn't we ask, since she is so married up with her faith, whether she thinks that Sharia law is more important than the Constitution. That's really, it was just a question. I was there, I watched it, and now we've got a censorship of Judge Jeanine Pirro, not of the terrible things that you point out Ilhan Omar has said about Jews.
Yeah, well, there's so many things to unpack here, Susan, Sharon. Why am I calling you Susan? I supported you. I supported you against the former Speaker of the House.
It's anyway, okay. All of us with S names look alike. No fair.
Thank God I'm not a snowflake. I don't worry about stuff like that. There's so much to unpack, and one of the things is that we've lost the whole spirit of free speech in this country. It's a legitimate question to ask. That same legitimate question was asked of John F. Kennedy, whether he had allegiance to his Catholicism, and would he govern under the Constitution. And a lot of people make the mistake of saying that it was somehow immediately anti-Semitic when Ilhan Omar was questioning the loyalty of Jews. But it was so much more comprehensive than that. She was basically saying, and has said, that the country is hypnotized by Israel and the Jewish people. It's not, we're being asked to completely ignore the fact that she is indeed a Muslim, and Muslims, unless you take a huge departure from Islam, which many people do, Islam dictates that you kill Jews wherever you find them. So unless you outwardly make a determination that you're going to defy Islam, it is a reasonable question. It was also a reasonable question for Jeanine Pirro to ask, and that leads us, I'm sure, to the whole question of how Fox is being co-opted towards the left, which is extremely disturbing to a lot of us because we don't have too many other forums left. It seems like we're getting shut down, and we can't afford for that to happen.
No, that's why we are here. Karen, seriously, that is why we are here. You know, even, sorry, Sharon, to interrupt, but even Fox is moving to the left. We hope to fill that gap here on the Conservative Commandos radio show in AUN TV. Sorry to interrupt, ladies.
No, I couldn't agree more. It's kind of like when you exercise at the gym, exercising your First Amendment, you got to use it or lose it. Mm-hmm. And the more they challenge us, I mean, it's words, it's speech. We're not, it's very, very disturbing when they're employing the same socialist tactics, which are to shut down all opposition, that we've seen time immemorial. So we can't afford to have that happen, and that's why everybody's voice counts, even people with whom we disagree. We're not the ones trying to shut down our opposition. They are.
Well, and that brings us to this age-old question. You say it in your article, overt bigotry and anti-Semitism have been festering in the Democrat Party for a long time. And we've seen it, and yet the Jews don't seem to see it. They vote Democrat, and we say, wait a second, this is the Holocaust again, looking you right in the face if you vote for these guys. It seems that way anyway to us who view socialism as the author and finisher of Holocaust stuff.
Yeah. Sharon, you're absolutely right. If I had a nickel for every time someone asked me, why are Jews so liberal? Why do they vote Democrat? And it's a 2-hour discussion, so obviously I can't give it.
Well, as a psychiatrist, I thought, or a psychologist, I thought maybe you had an insight into that brain.
But another highly conservative profession, among other things, is being a conservative social worker, you know? So I've never really fit in. Jewish, actress, social worker, female, conservative? I don't know. But to just give you a little taste, and it's an important question, and I'm asked it a lot, and even after a 2-hour discussion, it doesn't fully answer the question. For one thing, Jews don't tend to follow the herd. People figure, well, you know, it is a stereotype that Jews are financially and professionally successful, but yet the fact is that even when Jews are successful, a lot of times they still see themselves as the underdog. It isn't just money that's going to get us to feel like we're part of the quote establishment. So as long as Democrats succeed, and it's a total lie that they are the party of the underdog, Jews are still going to go in that direction. There are other things, which is, unfortunately, the Jewish community suffers from a great deal, and I say that subjectively, of secularism. Now, I'm not terribly observant, but I am, you know, proudly Jewish, and it's not a sin to disagree with our religion, and Jews do that to a fault. You know, there's that old thing, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, right? So a lot of Jews who have departed from Judaism are actually worshiping or actually practicing liberalism in place of Judaism. And that's sad, because many times it doesn't automatically follow that they are pro-Israel and support Israel and the Jewish people. And one real quickly, and I could go on, and I do, is that Jews sort of have been taught to mistrust Christians. And this is one of those that I have a lot of experience with, because I was president of the Jewish Republicans for a while, and I was always being given this thing, well, you know, we understand Christians support Israel, but the only reason for that is they think that in the end times, we're all going to go back to Israel and either convert or die. Well, I say, you know, they're not doing it at the point of a gun, number one, like another religion tends to do. And the fact is that if you don't believe in replacement theology, you may not believe that. We've been taught that Christians are not to be trusted, and that has been a very insidious thing. And it's unfortunate, because some of my best friends are Christians. and I share politics with them more than I do a good many of my Jewish compatriots. So we consider it our job to convert, to put Jews in their right mind. Since we don't proselytize our religion, we do try to proselytize our politics.
Well, we have to go to a break on that note. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM FM 24/7. And now you can watch our TV show on the AUN TV network in Northern California. We'll be right back with our guest, Kataline. We've been talking about bigotry on the left, except they're the ones. And we'll be seeing you with Rick Trader, and I'm Sharon Engel.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And as usual, thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharon Engel, and our guest is Kataline. She's a frequent guest on AM Talk Radio. She has her own show, Spouting Off. Karen, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Great to be with you, Rick and Sharon.
Karen, we're discussing your article, Leftists See Bigotry Everywhere Except Where It Actually Is. You know, Karen, we start our show every day by saying that we welcome fellow patriots, welcome fellow deplorables, welcome fellow dregs to society, welcome fellow rock dwellers. Karen, where do you think we got those names? I mean, we just didn't pull that out of the hat. Where do you think we got that?
I don't know, Rick. I mean, that it seems awfully pejorative to me, and it doesn't seem very tolerant or compassionate or diverse, does it?
No.
It couldn't have come from the left, could it?
I think a couple of those things come from people like Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, actually, but we'll never say that publicly. You know, Karen, in your article, you talked about the left has worked so hard at its agenda of identity politics. It has stereotyped everyone according to various groupings. Do you think that this is really starting to show their true colors and that this is really going to come back to hurt them in the end?
Well, I most certainly hope so. I'm not the prognosticator my friend Dr. Lameiro is. I leave that to him to do his tracking of all of that. Like a lot of things, we never really see until voting day what the public actually thinks, and that's one of the reasons why voter integrity is so incredibly important. I think that if the Democrats weren't worried, they wouldn't be constantly going after voter integrity with a vengeance. They would know that they really have the public behind them, and I don't think they do. In Colorado, in northern Colorado, where I am, they just took away the right of Coloradans to vote for president. No matter who you vote for, you're going to have your votes given to the popular vote, which is California, New York, and Texas. They are playing with every rule in the book because they have no bottom, very frankly. Leftist strategists will do anything to win. So while I kind of segued over there to election integrity, I do think they're being exposed, and people see that they've been duped at different rates. Nobody likes to admit that they've been duped, right? So we try, as in many different ways, to explain to people that Democrats are a lot like the guy who's offering candy to the 7-year-old girl. Here, little girl, have some candy. But there's a very evil kind of thing that happens if you accept the goodies. And it's the price of your freedom. It's the price of your country. And, you know, that's why we need every single voice, because they're trying to shut it down.
You know, Karen, I as a Christian have never understood why Jews are so hated. When I study and I love history, and when I watch or read anything about Hitler and the Second World War, I can't understand why they were so hated in Europe. I don't understand why, as a Christian, why Jews are hated in this country. You said something that as a Jew, well, maybe it's because Christians think that they're going to go back and retake Jerusalem. I don't see that. I think of Israel as an ally of our country. I think of Jewish people as very hardworking, very successful people. I appreciate that. I appreciate educated people. I appreciate people who strive to be better educated. So I don't quite understand the hatred for Jews. But why do you think Muslims hate Jews?
Boy, you ask wonderful questions, and I love these kinds of deeper discussions. And as mentioned earlier, I would never, Rick, presume to speak for all Jews, because, you know, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. But I'll tell you what I think about your first question, which is the oldest hatred in the history of mankind, really, is the hatred of Jews. And here's how I'd put it, because you can look at it in a spiritual way, you can look at it in a secular way, and it's one of those perennial questions. My answer to that, and it's evolving, is that the Jews were the bringer of the law. That doesn't mean they've always followed the law. It doesn't mean they've always been the greatest symbol of the law, as human beings are always flawed. But Jews brought the law. And that basically said is, you're accountable to something greater than yourself. And when people rebel against that, and I've always been, you know, a real avid fan of rebellion in general, of at least questioning everything. You know, question everything and ask questions. It's not a sin to question. But if somebody is the symbol of saying, guess what? There is accountability. There is a law. People who want to do anything they want don't like that. Mm-hmm. It's also true, there's a lot of history, and I'm not as great a historian as I'm not a historian at all, but I wish I were. And Christians and other religions have kind of co-opted parts of our religion, and then added
Christianity comes from Judaism.
It does.
You know, so in many ways, I see us as brothers of a similar family, just as some families move west, some stayed east. I mean, there is a split there. But I think that, you know, when you look back on history, when you look back on Christian crusade, Christians fighting the Muslims. Now it seems to be the Muslims fighting the Jews. And the way I look at it, I think it is all over land. It's all over a piece of land about 9 miles wide, about 160 miles long, called Israel. And I know we're getting a little long on this subject.
No, that's
I have to ask you to kind of condense your answer. But is it all over the fact that there is an Israel in the middle of the Middle East?
I think that's a huge part of it. And I just want to say for the record, the Muslims are at war against the Christians too. I mean, there's terrible kinds of murder going and ethnic cleansing of Christians. So we are on the same side. We stand with principled Muslims who want modernity and who want to live in peace with people who disagree. I have to say that as well. The key is, a lot of it is our beautiful, brilliant Constitution, which supports religious pluralism. If you went through a Reformation, I personally do not hold Christians of today accountable for a time when Christianity was not before Reformation.
Thank you.
We live in a pluralistic culture which requires that we live with different religious views. I say, vive la différence, you know?
Vive la Hey, Karen, I'm sorry, I'm way over. My editor is going to shoot me, but I wanted to thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Commandos. But please tell our audience how they could follow your work and read your articles.
Well, thank you. They can go to KarenKataline.com. Last name spelled Kataline, Karen spelled the normal way. There they'll find my op-eds, blog posts, podcasts, and please follow me on Twitter and Facebook. That's as much social media as I care to do.
All right, Karen Kataline, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
You too. You too.
This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. Sharon and I will be back with more right after this break.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1 and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Well, Sharon Angle, we've had another great show. I love our guests. I learned so much from our guests. I also learned from you. Sharon Angle, please tell our audience how to follow your work and hold up that book one more time. Defying Diagnosis.
Defying Diagnosis, Choosing Faith Over Facts. And you can get it at SharonAngle.com. And I want to thank our guests because they do make our show. We had America's Sheriff, David Clarke, on. Thank you to him. We had Gerard Lameiro, who once again gave us a prediction that the Democrat Party is on its last legs, 2021, final blow.
Yeah, well, don't get complacent out there. Don't get complacent. We have to support our candidates with time and money, and also with our votes. So don't get complacent just because you heard Dr. Lameiro say that.
Well, we're grateful to him for saying it on our show. Yep. And our last guest that we want to thank is Karen Kataline. She always makes us laugh, but she tells the truth. Maybe that's why we laugh, because it is the truth.
There you go. But for right now, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials. and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving, and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Since Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez first announced her Green New Deal, every major Democrat candidate for president has jumped on board. They're talking the talk, but are they walking the walk? Also, in case you didn't really believe that there's a crisis at the border, ICE has new numbers, new information from a report yesterday. We'll dive into that, plus all your viewer feedback and comments. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, the Democrats are out there. They're going state to state, jockeying for position, trying to make their case known for president of the United States. They've embraced Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal as if she's the Pied Piper, and they're just blindly following her. They're talking the talk, but are they really following through on their beliefs? No. And we'll get into some of the facts and the figures, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't even doing it. I mean, just take a look at this. She talked about getting rid of planes, getting rid of cars, getting rid of cows. And here's a clip that we showed earlier. Just want to kind of refresh you on the hypocrisy that is AOC, and it leads into what the other Democrats are doing as well. Take a look at this clip.
We got to address factory farming. Maybe we shouldn't be eating a hamburger for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, let's keep it real.
Slow down.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
ABS
shake. Chopped cheese, okay? But we have to take a look at everything, and what we need to realize is that climate change is about every choice that we make in our lives.
Okay, so we can't be having burgers, right? But look at this picture. Yeah, man, that's a nice, juicy burger. It's looking really good. And that's her with her chief of staff just digging right into it. So that's her chief of staff, though. But what about her? Surely she is following the proposals, the ideas of the Green New Deal, trying to lead by example, right? Well, not exactly. Take a look at this report. This is from the Post, and they said, since declaring her candidacy in May 2017, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's campaign relied heavily on combustible engine cars, even though a subway station was just 138 feet from her Elmhurst campaign office. She listed 1,049 transactions for Uber, Lyft, Juno, and other car services, federal filings show. The campaign had 550 Uber expenses alone. In all, AOC spent over $29,000 on those emission-spewing vehicles, along with cars and van rentals, even though her Queens headquarters was just a 1-minute walk to the 7 train. The campaign shelled out only a little over $8,000 on 52 Metro transactions. Okay, so there's your cars and trains and stuff like that. What about airplanes? All right, take a look at this. Her campaign embraced the friendly skies, logging 66 airline transactions costing over $25,000 during the campaign season. The Democrat firebrand or her staff took Amtrak far less, only 18 times, despite high-speed rail being the cornerstone of her Save the World strategy. Okay, so when that criticism came out, how did she react? Did she say she needs to do better? No, she just fought back, and here's what she tweeted shortly after that report came out. It said, "I fly, I use AC. Living in the world as it is isn't an argument against working towards a better future. The Green New Deal is about putting a lot of people to work in developing new technologies, building new infrastructure, and getting us to 100% renewable energy." All right, that last part we'll get into with a clip that she just said yesterday, in fact, on late night talk show. But it really says a lot about what her actual overall vision is. All right, that's her. That's her Green New Deal. That's how she's not living it. But what about the other candidates? All right, well, the Washington Times had a report yesterday that talked about, they're trying to dig into if these candidates embrace the Green New Deal, what are they doing to live it? And here's what they had to say. After inquiries from the Washington Times, only one, the campaign of South Bend Mayor Peter Buttigieg, said it will consider proactive steps to make up for the dirty business, carbon speaking, of the campaign. He's pledged not to take contributions from the fossil fuel industry, and we're looking into ways to reduce the carbon footprint, he said spokesman Liz Smith. Every other campaign contacted by the Times ignored the inquiries, making it anyone's guess how seriously they will take their admissions. All right, so they're not walking the walk, but they continue to talk the talk. Here's just a recent clip from Beto O'Rourke, who is freaking out about the end of the world emissions. We got to stop it right now or the world will end. Take a look at this clip.
This is our final chance. The scientists are absolutely unanimous on this, that we have no more than 12 years to take incredibly bold action on this crisis.
All right, so he is in full freak out mode with the hand and the everything like that. But what's amazing with his statement is he says that scientists are unanimous in saying that the world will end in 12 years unless something drastic is done. And that's 100% false. And I don't know if he's, blatantly lying, or with all of this stuff going on, if he just doesn't know what he's actually saying. But luckily, the Associated Press, who is no friend of conservatives, actually came out and finally just put an end to that talk and that talking point and tried to set the record straight. So here is their fact check of what AOC and Beto and some others have been saying. Said there is no scientific consensus, much less unanimity, that the planet only has 12 years to fix the problem. A report by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, drawn from the work of hundreds of scientists, uses 2030 as a prominent benchmark because signatories to the Paris Agreement have pledged emission cuts by then. But it's not a last chance, hard deadline for action, as it has been interpreted in some quarters. Glad to clear this up, James Sky said, co-chairman of the report and professor of sustainable energy at Imperial College London, told the Associated Press. The panel did not say we have 12 years left to save the world. All right, but they're still out there talking about it and embracing this gloom and doom strategy that warrants a Green New Deal and a massive government takeover. In fact, just last night on Late Night with Seth Meyers, AOC was out there again, and here's what she had to say.
We need to declare our North Star, and our North Star is 100% renewable energy. It's Medicare for all. It's tuition-free public colleges. It's investing in technology and renewable resources and electric vehicles.
All right, so she talks about 100% renewable energy, Medicare for all, tuition-free public colleges, investing in renewable resources and electric vehicles. All right, first of all, as far as investing in, renewables and stuff, remember Solyndra? I mean, this was the scam of Obama and probably his cronies investing in solar into companies that received billions and billions of dollars, and they just went bankrupt. You don't need government intervention to spur direct people or spur the economy in a certain direction. If you recall, remember when electric cars first, started really being talked about? If people are old enough, they remember that it was when gasoline prices spiked to over $4 a gallon, and all of a sudden, without government intervention, people said, man, maybe we should look at electric vehicles because we don't want to pay that. Now, with the advances of technology, electric cars are becoming even more popular, and I would say in 10 years, but probably 5 years, every major car company that we know of is going to have an all-electric vehicle available for consumers. And that's just driven by consumer demand and the advances in technology. It doesn't need government pushing them along. And so this whole idea, though, what she calls her North Star, is a massive government takeover. It is socialism. I mean, when you're talking about free tuition for all and, free jobs for all and things like that, whenever they throw out free, it means it's costing us. And that plan where she talks about protecting the environment is so much more. The Green New Deal is about government intervention and government takeover, period.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
We're confronting a first in our politics, a woman who is running for president, whose political career was launched and would not have been launched were it not for an affair that she had with a prominent older man. Kamala Harris had an affair with Willie Brown, 40 years older than she, in the early 1990s. Brown was the Speaker of the California State Assembly and went on to become the mayor of San Francisco, and was known throughout his career as the boss of San Francisco, the key person in deciding who got ahead and who didn't. And for several years, he was romantically and publicly linked to Kamala Harris. At the start of their relationship and her career, when she was still in her 20s, had just become an attorney. She had a job as an assistant district attorney at the Alameda County DA's office. But it didn't pay much, and while she had that job, Brown appointed her to a prestigious position on the California Unemployment Insurance Board and also on the Medical Assistance Commission, both lucrative jobs paying a fair amount of money. Then when Kamala switched jobs and worked in the San Francisco District Attorney Office, after 2 years she decided to run against her boss. She had just turned 39. And her boss was a two-term incumbent in his 60s who was very powerful and unlikely to be defeated. But with Willie Brown's intervention, his fundraising, his endorsement help, she was able to overcome him and get her first major job as the district attorney of San Francisco. Brown was asked about his role in her career, and he said, "Yes, I may have influenced her career by appointing her to 2 state commissions when I was Assembly Speaker. I certainly helped her with her first race for district attorney in San Francisco. But I've also helped the careers of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Dianne Feinstein, and a host of other politicians. He helps all the girls." But this is a potentially serious issue. And should we take at face value the accomplishments and resume of a person who basically helped get her position through ways that we would not consider to be above board, or at least relatable politically? And Harris went from good fortune to good fortune. She went from DA in San Francisco, very close election, she narrowly won, toppling the incumbent. 4 years later, she was routinely reelected. And then she ran for Attorney General in California, normally a very important and very difficult race. But in that year, Jerry Brown had returned from retirement and was running for governor against Meg Whitman. And everybody was focused on that race. Nobody paid any attention to any of the down-ballot races. And that included the race for Attorney General. And because of that, and because of the massive support that Brown was able to give her, she was effective, she won, and she was elected Attorney General, re-elected easily 4 years later. Then she ran for the U.S. Senate seat. And under California's rules, all candidates run together, and the top 2 run it off, regardless of whether they're Democrat or Republican, if nobody gets a majority. And Kamala Harris was pitted against a former Congressman, Loretta Sanchez, who had no chance at all of winning. Harris spent almost $10 million, Sanchez spent $3 million, and she was just overwhelmed. And much of that money was raised with the assistance, again, of her godfather, Lee Brown. By then, the romantic relationship had been cut off, but still the political relationship survived. So Kamala Harris has advanced largely under the radar, winning a race for district attorney on the strength of her involvement with the political boss of the town, slipping in as the Attorney General in the year in which nobody was paying any attention to that race, getting elected to the Senate against a fellow Democrat, a very minor opponent. And now, after basically a cup of coffee in the Senate, 2 years, she's now running for president.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
God bless the United States of America.
So let's move on from that to the border, because things are really bad. And in case, some of your friends are talking about how, Trump has declared this a national crisis, but it's really not. They're getting other news sources and they're not getting the full picture. Well, let's listen from actual officials. Okay, so here's a report from the Daily Caller, and it talks about the border situation and how over the last few months we've released 100,000 immigrants into the American population because ICE simply can't handle it. Here's their report. While speaking to reporters on Thursday, Natalie Asher, a senior official with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, revealed her agency has had to relocate resources as it deals with a crushing surge of illegal aliens on the country's southern border. ICE has not only been forced to reduce its activity in the interior of the U.S., but the agency's overcrowded detention centers have released 107,000 migrant family members in the past 3 months, averaging more than 1,000 illegals a day. All right, so in this week, we've just seen examples of it. There have been officials that were grilled in San Jose, California this week, a town hall meeting, because earlier there was a stabbing. A woman, 59 years old, was stabbed. She was stalked and killed by an illegal alien. You had a deputy sheriff that was killed. You had 4 people in Nevada that were killed by an illegal alien who was on a rampage looking for money to buy drugs. And this is what we're facing right here. When we're releasing 1,000 illegals a day into society, something needs to be done. So if you don't want to listen to Trump, if your friends don't want to listen to Trump, you know, look at the facts. Look at what is actually going on the southern border. And when you consider that, you know, Americans mobilize and declarations of emergency are stated and put into place for floods and other things like that, look at what is going on the southern border. Something definitely needs to be done. All right, so it's Friday. I want to go a little lighter. I wanted to dive into some of your comments. There have been thousands and thousands of comments on the show and great feedback from readers. And I just want to encourage you to please keep doing it. And let's dive into some of them because they've been great. Here's one from Paul Deal. And he says, Bobby hit the nail on the head. The government wants the population to be 100% dependent on them for food, housing, defense, health, everything. Once we can no longer do anything for ourselves, the government will take total control of our lives and tell, for our own good, how to live our lives. And that's what the end goal is for the left is. And I've tried to state that in show after show that they are moving towards, it's not about protecting the environment or giving people a chance. It's about government control. The more that people can turn away from God or turn away from family or turn away from, you know, anything that binds them together other than government and embrace government, then the left wins, and that is what they're trying to do. Okay, so Mary Sumner, once again, liberal platform consists of the 3 R's, rage, ridicule, and rhetoric. It's all they have. Man, that's a good one, and I appreciate the comment because they won't debate. They won't engage in the facts and let people decide. They know they can't win, so they try to label people as bigots, racists, shout over people. You know, I tend to be a calm guy and try and talk through the facts, and all they do is shout people out and try and get rid of them so that they are the only voice. So thanks for the comment. All right, so now we have My Simcha Faith says, great 13-minute news show, straight to the point, not a lot of noise, and better yet, no screaming. Keep it up. Jeffrey Becks, concise and well articulated, a new fan. Keep up the great video, and I hope your channel blows up. Well, man, I hope it does too, and I thank you for the comments, and we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep working on it for sure. So here's one more. I discovered your channel, great video, 100%, so I subscribed. I read your brief little bio. Are you the same man who did the IndyCar racing? Keep up the great videos. All right, and that's from Lynn Swango. All right, well, I appreciate it. And yes, I'm on what's known as the Road to Indy, which is a development series to get to IndyCar. And obviously, I started late. All my competition is like 17 and 18-year-olds. But it's really developed. I'm a 3-time national champion for the 30 and over class. And in 2017, kind of my breakthrough season, I finished 5th overall in the series against competitors that were 18 or 19 and was ready to move up to the next level, which is Indy Lights, won from the top, but we ran into sponsorship issues and I'm still waiting for a sponsor. I'm working hard to try and get back out there on the racetrack because I'd love to be racing and love to be kind of representing the older generation that shows that you can do it if you put your mind to it. So I appreciate the comment. And folks, I thank you for tuning in. Please have a great weekend. Thanks again for subscribing and add your comments. Let me know what you think, how we can improve the show, and just what you think about the issues. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
It's almost 1 year ago today that Attorney General Jeff Sessions said that the U.S. Attorney for the state of Utah, Salt Lake City, John Huber, should investigate the Clinton Foundation, the circumstances under which the Justice Department elected not to prosecute Hillary Clinton, the Uranium One deal with the Russians and Hillary's role in approving it, and a range of other issues. And nothing's happened. It has dropped dead. There have been no witnesses, to my knowledge. There's no grand jury. There have been no focus, no subpoenas, nothing. Now, first of all, it's time to get moving, and William Barr should light a fire under Huber and get this investigation on track. But a more serious thought appears to my conspiratorial mind, and I have no evidence for this. I'm just wondering it out loud. Do you think that Donald Trump maybe is sitting on this investigation so that he has it in his pocket in case Mueller moves aggressively against him and his family when the report is released? Investigating Hillary would be really an atomic bomb for what it would do to the Democratic Party, its top operatives, and its most recent presidential candidate. It would be a huge, huge blow to the Democrats, all up and down the ladder. And maybe Trump is holding that in his back pocket so that he can use the threat of it, the implicit threat of it, to discipline Mueller to make sure that his report is accurate and that Mueller doesn't go overboard and doesn't indict his son or even name the president as an unindicted co-conspirator. This could be the club that Trump is keeping in the closet. Now, the only evidence I have of this is that nothing's happened on this investigation when Trump keeps promising that he will. Lock her up had become a theme of his campaign rallies, and he keeps talking about it and focusing on it, but hasn't said much about it in the last 4 or 5 months, and hasn't tweeted about it, hasn't talked about it, which is very atypical for him. Well, whether my conspiracy theory is right or not, let's write the president to ask him to get going on investigating Hillary Clinton. These are serious charges, far more serious than the illusory, ridiculous charge of collusion between Russia and Trump. These charges relate to the subversion of the entire Justice Department to elect one of the candidates for president and smear and besmirch the other candidate, and the effort to continue that process even after the other candidate became president. It also involves sacrificing key elements of American security by turning over a fifth of our uranium supply to the Russians. And it raises the issue of the compromise of national security through, at best, careless and at worst, negligent handling of the emails on her private server by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. And behind all this lies the issue of pay for play, a bribery scheme dominating the U.S. State Department and the Clinton Foundation. These charges need investigation, and we should have it soon. Today's Lunch Alert is sponsored by Gundry MD. There is a toxic
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.